Episode number 58 with Peter Morris.
I got X-ray specs for eyes. I can see right through you. I can read everybody's mind, so I know what you're thinking.
Welcome to the Heads Up Poker Podcast. This is Steve Barton.
This is Carlos Welch.
And we have an extra special guest for you today. His name is Peter Morris. He goes by the Saurus. The guy is a legend in the rap battle world, and we play with him quite a bit on ACR. He gives me plenty of trouble.
For sure.
Yeah. When did you first see him, Carlos? At when the Assassinato and Peter did their battle in Vegas?
Yeah, that's when I first met him. I was going to attend the battle. So, they put out the time when they were going to have the battle. And so me and a buddy went, a couple of minutes ahead of time. And then the Saurus shows up and, I speak to him, introduce myself, and same thing with Assassinato. And got a chance to see those two guys. It was real cool to see their, pre-battle prep. Like, the Saurus was kind of like off in the corner by himself, walking around, like quietly rehearsing his lines in his head. And,
getting in the zone.
Exactly. And Assassinato was doing the same thing. So, yeah, that was when I first met him, and that was a great battle.
Yeah, that's cool. I watched it on YouTube. I wasn't there, but they were both very, very into it, They even had Bruce Buffer there doing the...
Yeah, Bruce Buffer did the introduction like it was a UFC fight or something, which was awesome.
Yeah.
And I was in the crowd and got a chance to... So Andrew Brokus was with me, so he and I got a chance to watch the rap battle together, and Faraz Jaka was in the crowd, and he was one that became a part of the battle when Assassinato had a line where he said that Faraz looks like Alf, which was that was probably one of my favorite lines from the entire battle. But it was really a good competitive battle, and it was really cool to see those two guys have that much respect for each other.
That's cool. Yeah, I just saw the edited down version, but and I also heard about Alex talking about it on his podcast. If you guys haven't heard it, Ask Alex podcast. One outer, Alex Fitzgerald does a podcast. Really cool. But he was talking about it. And then when I watched the video, I'm like, man, that was awesome.
Yeah.
It was good. Yeah, just YouTube the Saurus versus Assassinato. It'll be the first thing that comes up. Really cool. But yeah, so he'll be on shortly. I got a hand if you want to go over one.
Sure, let's do it.
Okay. This one is from a $30 buy-in. It's a Turbo 6 Max tournament, 1,500 guaranteed. Okay, so the hero.
This is on ACR?
This is on ACR, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I'm going to go off on a tangent here. Have you had any problems with getting knocked off on ACR? Like timing out and then calling the people up? And have you had issues with that?
Not due to the software, but due to me playing too many tables.
Okay.
But no, I haven't had any software issues on ACR.
Okay, I have, and they were really good about it, and I hate to even mention this because I want to get sponsored by them for the podcast, but it seems to be a regular thing, and I've been talking to other guys that play on different skins for the winning network, like they play on Black Chip Poker, and they don't seem to be having the same issues. So I was thinking about pulling my money off of ACR and putting it on Black Chip, and, I don't know if they offer the same rake back or whatever, but... Yeah, I don't know. It was a frustrating Sunday because I called them and they said they'd reimburse me for the tournament, so I ended up going deep in two of them. But still, it makes me wonder what could have been had I not timed out,
Right. Yeah, I haven't had that experience.
You haven't had that? Okay.
No.
Okay. But anyways, on to the hand. Okay, so Hero has 9-6 of hearts. And let's see, we're in the big blind. And it under the gun, okay, so six-handed, under the gun raises to 640. Then there's a call right after him.
What are the blinds? 153?
Okay. Oh, the blinds are 153.
Okay.
And Hero has 19 big blinds. The under the gun raiser has 27. And the cold caller in, cut off, in the hijack has 45. So the effective stacks here are basically 19. They both have us covered. And then it folds around to us in the big blind with 9-6 of hearts. So we got to call 340 into a pot of 1910.
Okay, I'm sure that we don't have these reads at the time, but I just want to throw this out there. You know, like based on my image, like I'm usually pretty tight, as you know.
Yeah.
So I'm probably going to have pretty tight HUD stats. And if that's the case, and right away I can see myself playing this hand different ways. Like if UTG is a type that opens a ton, and hijack is a type that flats a ton, I may just shove this pre.
Really?
Which I think is super unorthodox. A lot of people would never do that. But if you, let's say UTG is opening like 20% of hands and only calling off with like the top, say 5 to 7%. And hijack, a lot of times people cap that range when they just call like that in position. And so I'm less worried about him. And the sweet thing about this spot is UTG is going to call us tighter because we're squeezed. I mean, that's why the play is called a squeeze.
Yeah.
He's squeezed. Like he's not just having to worry about our 19 bigs. He's basically got a shove with the bigger stack behind him to do anything about it. So this is a spot that is 100% read based on HUD stats.
Yeah.
But like as you gave me the info, that was the first thought that came to mind. If this is a situation where I'd been super tight, where they wouldn't expect me to do this with a hand like that, and UTG was raised folded a ton, hijack was one of these guys you see on ACR and Bovada that run like 50-10. You know, that just flat everything. Because I've seen guys just call in a spot like this with like 7-6 suited. They can't call a shove in a spot like that. So, because I'm sure we don't have those reads, that probably wouldn't be a good idea here, but I just want to throw that out there.
No, that's interesting because I've never even considered that. In my mind, there was only one option, and that was just to complete and see a flop and go from there. But that's interesting because there's 1,900 in the pot right now, and right now my stack is only 5,400. So that's a huge boost to my stack. What is that, like more than 30%? Yeah.
What is that? So that's like, so there's like 6 bigs you're picking up.
Yeah.
With, believe it or not a ton of risk if you pick the right situation.
Yeah. 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 I like that a lot. That's interesting.
Even if you get called by a hand like ace king offsuit, you still have like 35% equity.
Yeah, you're by no means dead. Yeah. Yeah. I like that a lot. That's a good play. I'm going to start looking out for that because I never even considered that.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. Okay. Well, I guess it's obvious what I do, right? Right. After that speech, I complete. So we have a pot now of 2250. And we go to the flop. Okay, so Hero's got 9-6 of hearts. And the flop is Jack of hearts, 9 of clubs, 2 of hearts. So we flop middle pair, and we have a heart draw.
Okay.
What are you doing as Hero here?
First to act, I'm checking.
Okay. With the idea of check shoving, or just check and see what happens?
99% of the time check shoving, but depending on what, I'm never folding. So depending on what happens, I may decide to either call or make a 3-bet or shove. Depending on the action that happens, I want to leave my options open. But the one thing I will say is that I'm 100% going broke in this hand. I'm never folding here.
Okay. All right. I had the same mind frame. My plan was to check shove. And I check the UTG, the original raiser. He bets 820 into a 2250. So he pretty much clicks. That's basically a third pot, a little bit more. Then the other guy calls, and it's back on hero.
Yeah, I'm happily shoving at this point.
Okay. All right. That's what I did. I shoved my 5K in there. UTG folds, and the other guy calls with King Jack. So this I thought was a little interesting because I ended up running the equity on this for a bunch of different hands that he had. I ran equity 9-6 of hearts versus King Jack, in which case we are like, it was like 48. I ran a whole bunch of them, and we were always just shy of 50%. We were basically flipping a coin every time. Right. And I put that for pocket 10s. So on a board, we got 9-6 of hearts, the board, Jack of hearts, 9 of clubs, 2 of hearts. Against pocket 10s, we were like 48%. Against King Jack, we were the same. Against Queen Jack, we were the same. Against aces, we were the same. Against queens, even against a set, we were, I think, like 26 or 27%. It was pretty impressive. And I think it just comes from having all the hearts. And then when they only have one pair, you can catch a second pair, too. You can catch either another 9 or you can catch a 6.
Right. I didn't hear you mention this, but I believe you're also 50% against the nut flush draw.
Really?
Like if somebody has like
okay, I didn't run that one.
Ace King of hearts, I think you're like 50% of that against that as well.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. But anyway, so we basically flip a coin. I end up winning it. I spike a 6 on the river, and that was that. But I thought that was kind of an interesting one. I'm glad I brought it up because I never thought about shoving it pre. You know, I think, though, probably back in 2008, 2009, I think I might have squeezed there with that.
Yeah. Do you recall the suits of Hijack's cards?
Yeah. So he did have a heart blocker.
Okay, so the fact that he's flatting in that spot with an offsuit hand tells me that the squeeze probably would have been profitable. Because if he's calling here with King Jack off, he's probably calling with Queen Jack off. He may be calling with Jack 10 off. And each one of those offsuit hands represents 16 combos. That is a large number of combos that have in your range that you can't defend to a shove.
Yeah.
So like if you shove this hand pre, we don't know what UTG had, but if he folds, more than likely, Hijack folds King Jack off for half his stack. But even if he does call it, I still don't know if that's enough to make the shove bad. If he's also calling pre with hands like Queen Jack and Jack 10 offsuit and choosing to fold those. So a guy that's flatting offsuit combos like this, more than likely his flatting range is huge and he just can't defend it.
Okay. Yeah, you know, that makes sense. Looking at his numbers here, 100 hands, and he's a 45-16. So the guy's a complete calling station.
What about UTG? What are his numbers?
I only got 22 hands on him, so it's not real accurate.
Okay.
But it's 36-32. No 3-bet. It says 6-handed, too, though. So.
Right. Seems like a great spot.
Yeah, I think so.
Given those numbers, more than likely I would have shoved this pre.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
But as play, I definitely play it the same way. And another thing I'll point out is you said that you're flipping against Hijack in this situation, which is actually a very profitable situation to be in, to be flipping with that much dead money in the pot. That's like a home run spot. So when you shoved in 5. And once he called, what was the final size of the pot?
13,200.
Right. So you shoved 5 to win 13-2, which you needed to win 37 or 38% of the time. And with 50% equity, that is like a massive edge. Yeah.
He was printing money. Yeah. Cause the other guy, he put in, an extra, 14, almost 1,500 of dead money. And then plus the antes.
Right. That's the beauty of check shoving. You can, if you check shove in a 3-way pot and you get called by one of the guys and you're flipping with them, it's a great spot because the guy who didn't call basically just subsidized the flip. Like the two of you are basically flipping to chop up his dead money.
Yeah.
And I think if you look at it that way, like a lot of people in their mind, when they hear flip, they instantly think like a break-even spot. But that's not true if there's dead money involved.
Yeah. True. Okay, cool. Neat hand. I learned something there. It's funny how poker comes around like that, because I know in back when I was playing on Ultimate Bet.
Back when you were reading Harrington on Hold'em.
Yes. And Super Systems.
I mean, Harrington on Hold'em is when I first learned about the squeeze play.
Yeah.
And so, at that time, maybe it was fresh on your mind. But if you haven't thought about it in a while, then I can see how, like right now, the flavor of the day is defending the big blind wide. Yeah. So that's the thing that's fresh on your mind. So that's what you did.
Yeah, you're right. That definitely, that has changed a lot. What's changed in poker the most, I think, is these small little bets. And like now I find when people like 3X or 4X, like, I don't know what to do. I'm like, what does this mean? What is he doing? Like, why would he do that?
Yeah. The thing that I'm starting to just get on board with that has been in vogue for a while is these little third pot C bets.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's something that first I didn't know what to make of it. And now it seems to be coming standard for a lot of people. And I almost never did it. And now I'm starting to implement that occasionally.
I like them because, you don't have to win very often to make it profitable. When you have a pot of 100 and you bet 30, you don't need to take it down very often at all to make it profitable play. Let me just do the math on this real quick. It's 30 divided by 130.
Should be 25%.
23. Yeah. So if you're taking it down more than a quarter of the time, then you're winning.
Right.
Yeah. Actually, if it was 33 instead of 30, then yeah, it probably would be 25%.
Yeah. A third pot. If you bet a third pot, it's exactly 25.
Exactly 25. Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. 33 divided by 133. Yeah. 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 Well, should we give Peter a call?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Hello.
Peter Morris.
Yo.
What's up, man? How you doing?
Good. How about yourself?
Good. This is Steve, and I'm here with Carlos Welch.
Awesome.
What's up, bro?
What's good? How you doing?
I'm good. How about you?
Good. How did, was it yesterday that we were both in, you had piles of chips and something yesterday. It might have been the 10K or something. I think it was something like that. Because I stone bubbled it. It was whatever it was, stone bubbled.
Yeah, I remember that hand. That guy on your right was kind of crazy.
Yeah. I honestly wasn't even expecting to be in the stone bubble spot after I was down to half a big blind,
Yeah, I do remember you got pretty short there.
Yeah, I took some massive cooler. I don't know, Queen stays king, something like that.
You know what? I think I got 13th in that tournament, and I busted out with Queen's to Ace King.
Oh, wow.
I remember that guy on your right. He seemed to be in every single pot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. There's a lot of guys like that on ACR.
For sure.
Do you have, I was talking to Carlos about this just before you got on, Peter. Do you have issues with connectivity on ACR?
I used to. It used to be a daily problem for me, at least 2 or 3 times a day when I would be multi-tabling. And it necessarily wouldn't even be all of my tables, but 1 or 2 would just completely freeze.
Yes.
And then I would have to restart the entire program just to get everything back to normal.
Yeah. I
haven't had any issue like that. And I would say the last month or 2, I know that they did a software upgrade. And ever since they added those new skins and whatnot, I haven't had any issues since then, but it used to be a daily problem for me.
Okay. Yeah, it completely crippled me on this last Sunday, and I'm like, oh man, I wanted to ask you about that when you came on, because I see you on there all the time.
Yeah, I've heard of a lot of people having Sunday issues on there before. They'd regularly get whatever it is, DDoS attacks on Sunday and shit. And
what's DDoS attacks?
I don't know. There's some sort of server attacks that take place. It seems pretty commonly on Sundays for them. And I know when they were running the Sunday Millions and the Sunday 500Ks and stuff like that, I don't think they were prepared for the amount of traffic they initially got. So that would cause crashes because I guess they didn't have enough, server space to handle.
Server space or whatever. Yeah. Okay. I was thinking about moving over to Black Chip Poker. I haven't heard of anyone having issues there. What's that? I've
heard good things about Black Chip.
Okay. Maybe I'll do that. I don't know how long it'd take me to get my money off and then transfer it over, but
it shouldn't be long. Usually ACR I know is super quick as far as getting money. Like even you can get a check within 7 business days, but then they do like the bank account withdrawal that takes maybe 5 days or something like that. Even player transfer you could just do. That would be instant.
Yeah, because Mike's on there. I could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. That's a good idea. Okay. Cool. Well, how did you? I always like to start it off simple. How did you get into poker? When did you start playing?
Poker generally. God, I was a little kid. I was probably like 7 or 8, just playing like stud games with my dad, and that's where I just like learned, I guess, the basics of poker. Once I turned 21, I'm 34 now. Once I turned 21, I was playing pretty much daily I had like a local card room that would just spread limit hold'em. And it was just like a 2 to 6 spread limit. So you could bet between $2 and $6 on every street as opposed to like your standard limit structure. And that was my introduction to hold'em. So I really learned hold'em through playing limit poker in probably 2001, 2002, something like that. That was like my first real introduction to hold'em. And pretty much got addicted from there. And then, the boom happened shortly after. So I figured, okay, well, it's definitely time to learn, more facets of the game than just limit. And living in the Bay Area of California, there wasn't any real no limit cash. There was bigger spread limit cash that you could play, like $100 max bet, stuff like that. But I don't know, even that felt really limited playing multiple streets. And then eventually some Bay Area card rooms got sanctioned to spread no limit in probably 03, 04, maybe. I would say no later than 04. And then by then I was playing no limit like every day.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I've got a similar story. I started out at 2-4 and actually 1-3. I started out at 1-3. They had a 1-3 game. Spread limit game, $1 to $3, and I think the rake was like $5 or something.
Oh, that's absurd!
I know, it's just a terrible game.
2-6 game I would play. The rake was only $3. It was amazing.
Oh wow!
But good old limit hold'em.
Yes. What do your parents think of you playing?
They love it. I mean, my mom has always been insanely supportive of everything I do, every creative outlet that I use. She's a massive fan of like my music and battle stuff as well. So it's always been like, I've always had a really good foundational support system. I've lost my dad probably 5 years back. I know when I started making poker like a primary focus and something I took more seriously than just like an alternative line of income, I guess. Yeah. And he liked that. He knew that I always not only had like a thing with numbers, but that I liked the game and that being my own boss is something I would always be better off doing than showing up and clocking in somewhere.
Yeah. I saw you're a co-owner in a clothing line?
Yeah. Legendary Clothing Company is something.
That's cool.
Me and 2 of my really good friends from the LA area who are brother and sister, we started that in 2010, actually.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah. It's pretty low key, but we just make a bunch of mostly T-shirts, a couple of hoodies. We have like some fitted hats. We have an account with New Era, so we can get fitted hats made and stuff. We used to sponsor like a regular monthly MMA event that was held in the San Diego area, but that, I guess, company or whatever has since gone belly up, stopped throwing events. But we we sponsored a handful of their top fighters and would give them gear to wear to the matches and outside of and whatnot.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was pretty fresh.
Huh. What about your battle rap? When did you get started in that? Was it similar to poker? You liked it ever since you were a little kid, or?
I think high school is where I started. That's where I started rapping. I was probably a sophomore in high school when I first got interested in rapping at all. And I had some friends who used to throw a weekly thing called Freestyle Friday in my hometown in Monterey, California. And it was just at a local coffee house. They had 2 DJs who would show up with their turntables, and they would just spin instrumental records that people would freestyle and rap over, which I was like mind blown by. And I just kind of I would say I spent about a year and a half sort of studying these guys. And they were all my friends, but they were people that I definitely looked up to. I would say I probably looked up to them more than they were actually like my close friends at that point. Like they kind of just regarded me as like the young newbie type of kid, which makes sense. And I barely even rapped around them because I was like so self-conscious about it. But after I would say a year and a half of going to this thing, I just finally decided like, all right, I'm just going to do it tonight. Like, why not? What's the worst that could happen? And I pretty much like absolutely shut it down. Like I think I waited probably like 6 months too long to like, I guess, come out of the closet as a rapper. Like, start rapping publicly in front of like my peers and whatnot.
Well, you're pretty vulnerable doing that. I mean, like you're put on the spot, and
that's the thing I was definitely most nervous about.
Fuck, I mean, that's scary.
It is, but I like completely shut it down. I had a reaction every other line I was saying, and it was definitely like the validation and the confirmation for me of like, okay, we can move forward with this. Then I guess monthly, like not really weekly at that point because 8 Mile hadn't come out, but monthly and like quarterly freestyle battle events would pop up in the Bay Area in California. And they were for, $500 or something like that. I started showing up to those and I was generally doing pretty well in them. And then once I won my first one in like maybe 2003 or something like that, then I really started to take it more seriously and was like, okay, this is definitely something I can do. I can be consistent at. And once I would say the battle scene kind of had its own moneymaker boom when 8 Mile came out, because once that came out, every club, every hip hop related venue, everywhere wanted to throw a battle event, whether it be regularly or, a massive yearly event or something like that. But it really created an avenue where people could make money off of it if they were actually good. So that became like, the main focus at the time. I was definitely focused more on battling than poker, I would say early on. When I really started taking battling seriously, like probably 2003, 2004, I was more focused on that than playing poker at the time for sure.
How do you feel now? What's bigger in your life, a clothing company, poker, or battle rap?
I would say I'm probably more focused on poker now. Not to say that I'm not focused on battling at all, but it's just now, like being in my 30s now, I know that the window for what I have left battling is a lot smaller than what I do moving forward with poker, which is something that I feel like I can, continue to do for as long as I absolutely want to.
And Ice is like 60, right?
Yeah, he's in his 40s, and he's like an exception to the rule. He's like the coolest human being that's ever existed. Other than that, there's not I would be surprised if 3 years from now I'm still battling. I'll put it that way.
Okay. You've done it, enjoyed it. You feel like you've kind of gotten to a point where
I've done everything that I possibly could, with the exception of 2 or 3 battles that I would like to make happen before it's all said and done.
Yeah.
There's definitely a few like nice paydays that I would like to have before I hang it up. Like just some big matchups that, people want to see again that I know that we could really like maximize off of. But there's nothing I feel like I have left to prove. I definitely don't feel like I have anything to prove to anybody particularly. I'm really just doing it now because it's still fun for me. I can still write and compete at a high level. I'm still battling people that I'm interested in battling, and I'm not like tapering off to being, like an opening act against some sort of filler act that I'm not even familiar with.
Yeah.
And I think if it ever reached that point, I would just hang it up because,
you're just not enjoying it anymore.
Yeah, exactly. I'm still there for like the competitive spark and whatnot. But I know that playing cards is something that the window is much larger for moving forward. And I look forward to when I'm legally qualified to play the seniors event at the series.
Yeah, same.
Right.
You recently got a deal as a tournament poker edge poker, right?
Yeah, that was shortly after the series. It was, I would say, probably about 3 weeks after WSOP ended, something like that. Maybe 2 weeks after. Yeah,
that's cool. Yes, I've watched your videos. Very
awesome.
cool.
Thank you for checking out.
Same.
Thank you for sure. Yeah, I'm going to do another one that's going to start. It's probably going to start in March. I'm going to send it in like the 1st of February.
Have you already played it, or?
No, I actually last night just started going over, like just looking back through the hands of it. But it's the 109. It's the 15K guaranteed on ACR.
Okay.
And it was for a win. And I think I was a lot more active in it than in my first 2 videos, especially than the one where I made the run in the 100K, where I was super nitty in that. But I'm definitely like a lot more active, even like borderline aggro in some spots. There's a lot more interesting hands, so it'll be a fun one.
Cool. We have a few questions from Twitter. We threw out a tweet there.
Awesome.
Yesterday that you retweeted, and so did Carlos. And
yeah, I saw. Perfect.
Yeah. Let's see here. All right. This one is from Patrick on Twitter. He's at PSG. And he says, you have hinted at possible 2-on-2s. Are there any concrete plans yet, or is it just an idea?
Nothing solidified, but I would say it's more than an idea at this point. It's not just like, hey, I feel like doing this. Like,
what are 2-on-2s?
A 2-on-2 battle.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a pretty decorated history doing. Me and my partner Immaculate from Portland, we won back-to-back World Rap Championships as a team in 06 and 07. And recently, 2-on-2s have sort of made a comeback to the battle scene, and there's been a lot of speculation and debate over if one of or any of these newer teams actually kind of holds a candle to the legacy that I guess me and Ilmac have created for ourselves. And I don't feel like any other team has, but plenty of leagues have contacted us to come back and do a 2-on-2. It's really just a matter of the timing being right for he and I and an opponent that we feel is worth coming back for, because us returning as a team, it's sort of a big deal, I guess, in the battle scene, especially on the West Coast. It would be a pretty big deal.
That's cool. What percentage of your income would you say comes from the clothing company and then poker and then battle rap?
The clothing line is pretty small, to be honest. I would say poker and battling are pretty close to 50-50, though. I did 9 battles last year, which is a pretty active year for me. But 9 battles, well, I did 2 in 1 month, but one of them was just like a freestyle battle that was really easy to do. But basically every other one of them, like they were all in their own individual month. So I'm able to essentially like have a monthly income for 9 out of the 12 months. And it fluctuates, based on city, based on the league that I go to. If it's like a smaller league than like the larger brands, then I ask for a little bit more because it's more of a reverse effect. Like there's bigger platforms that I'm battling on because of how huge the platform is. And then there's smaller leagues who are just getting off of the ground, but I'm sort of providing them with the platform by them using my name. So I have to ask for a little more to do things like that. But I would say it's about 50-50 as far as poker and battling go. The clothing line is really just kind of like an added bonus thing.
Like a little something to keep you busy?
Yeah, exactly.
I listened to your... go ahead.
Keep my friends clothed, too,
Yeah. Yes.
Give my friends free stuff and whatnot.
I listened to your song on YouTube, Poison Ivy.
Oh, nice. Right on. I would say that's one of the more well-received songs from the album.
Really impressive.
It's relatable. Everybody's been there.
Yes. Yeah. The line I liked the most was... the most beautiful rose grows in poison ivy.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
When did you write that? Back in 2012 or 13? Or?
Actually, I wrote it years before. It's one of the first I would say, actual pieces that I wrote as a complete song. I probably wrote it in, maybe 08, as early as 08 or something like that. Maybe even earlier than that.
Okay.
And always wanted to, have it as a complete and full song with the Poison Ivy part as the chorus. It was really just about finding not only the right beat for it, but the right situation. My album took a long time to put out in general, and to finally have a group of tracks to go around Poison Ivy to sort of make everything cohesive. I don't know, I was really nitpicky about. So that song was written before anything else on the entire album by at least a couple of years.
Huh. Yeah. So when I was listening to it, I actually got a tear in my eye. It was
awesome.
very well written.
That's flattering. Thank you for sure. It's definitely, I would say, the most relatable song. And I think that's largely in part why it's like the most well received, because everybody's been there.
It's basically about a breakup for you guys.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
We're talking and they're like, what?
Yeah. Like a junior college breakup, just after high school breakup.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't even mention this to the Saurus, but I'm also twitching right now.
Oh, yeah, we should probably do that. Sorry.
So the people in my Twitch stream can hear us, and I play your music on my stream. They're familiar with a lot of the songs, but not Poison Ivy. Poison Ivy is not one that I played.
Yeah, it's not really a grinder track. It's a little...
Exactly. Yeah. No Sleep is the one that
for sure. And
a lot of poker players relate to. Top of the Food Chain is probably one of my favorites.
Thank you, for sure. I love that song, too.
Yeah. I noticed you and I have something in common, and I think that's we both like beautiful foreign women.
Yes. Oh, yeah. That is definitely an addiction of mine.
Yes.
I can't lie. Like my last, it's weird, too. It's not even something I've planned or anything, but like my last probably 4 girlfriends have been Canadian.
Okay.
And the one before that was Australian. And I mean, a lot of it has to do with, I do a ton of traveling for sure.
Yeah.
I think that I get along really well with Canadian like women to begin with. I think it's just growing up in the Bay Area and even then moving to the LA area and even now living in Vegas. Like I've dealt with so many girls who are raised under the impression that they're princesses. and I feel like foreign women, especially non-like westernized American,
yes,
aren't as like entitled and spoiled, and they're a lot more grounded and like laid back and not crazy or at least less.
Well, they're crazy just in a different way.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's a different kind, and it's to a lesser extent. It's a tolerable crazy that I find myself liking. Yeah. And it's not like a pull your hair out crazy, like I need to disappear.
Steve, didn't your wife like spray you with Lysol or something when you guys were talking on the Pickup Artist podcast?
Yes.
That's a little crazy, but you probably deserved it.
Probably, yes.
That is amazing.
Yes, Colombian.
Nice.
Colombian.
Oh, nice.
Very spicy. Very spicy.
I was going to say, yeah, for sure. Passionate.
Yes, very passionate. Very romantic. Nice. Beautiful. Yes. I'm
nice.
Very in love.
My lady lives in Montreal, but she's actually 100% Sicilian. Like her parents are Sicilian immigrants, and she is she's definitely a feisty Italian as well. It's, for sure. But she's the best. She's amazing. It's the first artist that I've ever been with. Like she's a painter, an incredible painter, but went to school for it, has a degree in I think it's some sort of like artistic education degree, but just an amazing artist. She gets it, like the artistic process and whatnot. And I actually got to become like good friends with her before dating her. So it wasn't like I met her at a show and then we started dating, because those situations for me, at least in the past, never really worked out too well. Like meeting a girl at a show and then starting to date from there. Yeah. Because it's like I'm the idea of some type of figure as opposed to actually like being myself, you know?
Yeah.
And this chick actually got to know me. Like we became really good friends first, and then My friends like to say that I completely home wrecked and like stole her from her man, but it's not what happened. I didn't. I'm not a home wrecker.
Right on. Yeah. Let's see. We got another question from Twitter. This is from Mark Jackson. He writes in and he says, any more music in the works?
Yeah, we're actually, my boy Chase, who produced my last album, All I Know Is That, he and I are definitely still in the work. We want to do the next project called No Gamble, No Future. And we plan on getting it done and like released this year with no real specific timetable because he's in the process from moving from San Diego to LA right now. And then when he moves to LA and finally gets settled in there, he has a project with my boy Immaculate that he is going to be working on first because it's hopefully going to be like a pretty big and serious project for Ilmac. I really hope so, at least because I feel like he probably makes the best music out of all the people that I know in the battle world. But once they get that project taken care of, then he and I will be able to just crank out mine pretty quickly because as long as I can get my beats selected and my writing taken care of, like, you know, on my own, then by the time they're done with their project, I can just, you know, hit up Chase and just be like, hey, I'm coming up. I just need 2 days to record everything. And he'll, you know, take care of it for me.
Right on. Right on. Cool.
So let's hope by the fall of this year, just like tentatively, but there's like a possibility it could be shortly after WSOP, like the end of August or something like that. That's very possible.
You guys heard it first on the Heads Up Poker podcast.
Yes.
Well, actually, you heard it first on Carlos Welch's Twitch stream.
Actually, you did, yes. Because it won't come out for a couple of weeks.
All right.
Yeah, Carlos got the live leak.
Yes, he does. He's got me there. Okay, we got one more here from Russell Wood. This is Pie Farmer.
Sweet.
He says, please ask about routines and good habits in poker and in rap battling, etc. Thanks. What routines do you have that, you know, you think have attributed to your success?
Sleep is a very important thing to take advantage of. I wouldn't say that I'm necessarily the best about maintaining a healthy sleep schedule, but it's important. When I'm balancing between grinding and I have a battle to write for, I'm very limited on rest, and I know that it drains me for like almost the following week. I would say probably at least the following like 3 to 5 days, depending on how long I end up depriving myself of sleep. But usually I just go on these like insomniac benders the week prior to a battle, and that's when I'm putting in basically all of my writing time at night while I'm grinding during the day. So I'm like kind of double dipping. So sleep, I would say, is probably more important than even I'm taking advantage of. Being in a comfortable environment is important for me, like just as far as like my comfort zone at home, like having somewhere where I'm ready and willing to sit and commit for, you know, potentially a 12-plus hour session for the day. I don't want to feel like I'm like either cooped up somewhere or, I don't know, just like crammed and claustrophobic. I'd like to be in a nice, relaxing, open space. It's just easier for me to think. Staying hydrated for sure. Eating a lot of fruit. I stay eating a lot of blueberries and whatnot. And I don't know if that's really like a brain food thing as much as just I really like blueberries. But I try to not eat too terribly when I'm putting sessions in, just because, you know, you're doing a lot of brain exercising and you don't want to fill yourself with garbage and then not be, you know, thinking at your peak. As far as like live poker habits, I don't know. I would say because that differs from personality to personality. I'm super interactive, and a lot of my like live poker habits involve just engaging the entire table and giving the visual misconception that I'm the most active person at the table because of how talkative I am, when in reality I'm kind of nitty. Like I'm not really like a spaz, you know. But live I definitely appear, I guess, more active than the numbers would indicate.
What's your routine before you sit down to grind? Like, on a typical Sunday?
Usually on a Sunday, I'll probably get up at about, I'm kind of a night owl. So, if I can get 6 hours plus sleep, I'm really happy, especially for a Sunday session. But on a Sunday, I'm usually up about 10 just to, especially during football season, to watch football. But that's just become a habit now year round, where I'm up at about 10 on Sundays, sort of lay around for 15 to 20. Then I'll stretch and spend 15, 20 minutes stretching just so I feel more functional. Drink a bottle of water, make myself a decent breakfast, usually including eggs and either steak or bacon, something like that. Some kind of decent breakfast that I know I'm going to, especially for Sunday sessions, I like to have a good breakfast, something that I know I'm going to feel good about starting the day with, and that there's not going to be any point where my stomach's going to really feel upset. And then pretty much just relax, get regged for a few things. But I don't know. I tend to late reg like most of the Sunday majors, at least a level or two. But pretty much just relax. After I've eaten, I'll maybe look back at, I don't know if it's a set number of hands, but I'll look back at the prior day and just get an idea of what I'll go to my HUD, look at the previous day's hands, and then I'll look at hands lost, in ascending order from the biggest pots that I lost, basically. Go over maybe 5 to 10 of the hands that that stood out the most in my memory after seeing, what the hole cards were. Go over those, see if there's anything that could be done, I guess, moving forward if I'm put in a similar spot situationally. And then do the same thing with some of the pots that I won, usually with more obscure hands, like the non-value hands. I'm not really trying to watch a hand replay of where I 5-bet jam aces pre. It's pretty standard that gonna get money in there. You know, I'm more concerned about how I play a jack 7 of spades that I cold 4 from the small blind or something along those lines. I'll usually look back at a couple of those hands, see if there's anything that stands out to me, or if there's anything that I can do differently or maybe better moving forward in similar spots. Just try to get myself thinking before my session starts, though, and thinking, I guess, a little more than ABC if I can. If I can find some spots to go over and look at that are going to just get me thinking a little more outside of the box early, so I don't feel like when the first tournament starts, because usually on Sunday, the first thing that I'll play will be on ACR is the 115K guaranteed, the 215. So I like to have the gears kind of already moving by the time that I jump into that thing, third or fourth level of the tourney.
That makes sense. I usually get started about the same time too. Yeah. I have a question that's not really related to poker but how long have you been on Twitter? What's your secret to success with that? You've got something like 20,000 followers or something ridiculous.
I've been on for a long time, Rob.
Okay.
Whenever Twitter first started, I was on there very shortly after. There's a few heads in the battle scene that are really on the up and up as far as jumping on new social media sites and whatnot before they even fully come to fruition. And my friend Lush One was actually the guy who put me up on it. And he was just like, hey, you should definitely check this out. It's something that's absolutely going to take off. Check it out, see what you think about it. And it was probably, 09 or something like that. I'm sure there's a date that I can actually look at right now on my profile that'll say when I joined. February 2009.
Oh, you've been on for years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? We have a little bit of similarity in that where when I started on Twitter, I was doing some work in the music industry, and my Twitter account is actually Hip Hop 101 Trivia from the hip hop side. But then when I started doing more in poker, I'm using that account more so for poker. But I can remember having so much crossover to where I'll be talking about a poker hand or something. Yeah. And my hip hop followers be like, what the hell are you talking about? And vice versa. Now, I've heard in some of your battles, people bringing up the fact they're sick of hearing about your poker.
Oh, yeah, my hands and whatnot.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I even get it from battle fans on Twitter who are just like, yo, man, I have no idea what you just said. If I'm just oh, busto, I'll be cold 4-bet rip. 36 bigs with A7 of spades, small blind versus big blind. And of course, it's all typed out like it's, it's SB, BB. And they're just like, yo, what are you saying? I have no idea.
They're like, that's the worst rap I ever heard.
Exactly. And then I'll have more poker-based followers who don't necessarily know too much about the rap stuff, who will then see me tweet like maybe a battle line completely out of context or something like that. And they're like, what? Like, what does that mean? So it definitely goes both ways for me. I have so much crossover now, especially in like my Twitter following, that I get it daily on both ends of it. Like I get poker heads who don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to rap stuff and vice versa.
Yeah, yeah. Where did you get your name, DrawingBored?
I honestly just kind of sat and thought for a while, and there were so many names that were taken or that had too many letters, and eventually that was just the one that I settled on.
Okay. No hidden meaning or anything?
No, definitely. There's no kind of secret meeting or anything like that. I wanted to do something that was going to be some type of play on words. So that's what I was trying to go for, but most of the names were taken when I was trying to register names, or they had too many letters. So I was just like, all right, I'm just going to go with this one. And yeah, it's kind of grown on me since. I like it.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't know it was you until we had Derek on the podcast.
Oh, nice.
A while ago, and he was saying, oh yeah, the Saurus was playing and this and that, and then he said something DrawingBored. I'm like, oh, that's who that is? He's like, yeah. Fuck, that guy always gives me so much trouble. No wonder.
It happens at live tables so much, even out here. I mean, there's something weird with ACR to where I guess they're like not allowing Nevada players or something like that. Like I don't know. I get a lot of messages on Pocket Fives from Nevada residents saying, yo, how are you playing on ACR? Like they're saying that I'm not allowed to. And I guess maybe I started playing when I lived in LA and
you're kind of grandfathered in, or they just haven't noticed?
Yeah, maybe they just haven't noticed or something, but I've never had any type of issue. But like when I'm playing live sessions out here, it's happened at least a dozen times to where we'll just be talking about with some random player about playing on ACR. And once we say screen names and I say who I am, they're just like, oh, really? That's you? And I'm like, yeah. And I mean, a lot of it is I put in a fair amount of volume on there.
Oh, yeah.
If people are on there, if they play for a week, they're going to get to know me.
Yeah.
I've yet to play a day where I was not a table or at least in a tournament.
At least you and I are tabled together pretty often.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember in the Meet the Regs article that you did, you actually had like a number for what I had done on the year. And I was like, whoa, I didn't realize it was that high. It was like 1,600 tourneys for the year or something like that.
Right. So like on SharkScope, you can find that information. As like, you were definitely like in the top 10 in terms of number of tournaments played.
I always wondered what the little silver star next to my name was. And then I found out. I was like, oh, right on. And then I saw, of course, you see like all the other regs. You see like Carter Myers on there and all those other dudes. Frank and the boys. That's Carter.
Yeah. Oh, Frank and the boys. Yeah. Who is that guy? Do you guys know who it is?
Yeah. His name's Carter Myers. He's super solid. I would say he's one of the better regs on the site for sure.
Yeah. He constantly gives me trouble.
He's definitely one of the more successful regs too. He had I remember like a 150K Sunday like a month ago or something like that.
Wow.
I want to say maybe he shipped the 500K or something like that.
Yeah. Carter Myers, where does he live? How old is he? Do you know?
Maybe Colorado, but I'm not 100% sure.
Okay, Carter Myers, if you're listening, we want you on the podcast, okay?
Oh, there you go.
I have thousands of hands on you.
He definitely is one of my Twitter followers. You could find him.
Is he? Okay. All right. Yeah. I'll hunt him down.
Yeah, he's one of the few people that put in the same type of volume that you put in.
Absolutely. And he definitely sees results. He's consistently deep in something. Really solid player.
Yeah, he's good. He's good.
There's a good handful of regs on there. And there's a lot of better players now that are starting to show up and play more often on there. I'm seeing Jordan Christos on there like almost every day in the last week. And I'm just like, yo, man, like find another like honey hole to.
What's his screen name?
And especially he's really tricky to play against because his sizing is so insane and so It's all over the place. It's always big. His bet sizing in general is always bigger than your typical player by at least like 3x. And then he's constantly doing it differently just to like leave you in the most confusing spots ever. Like he'll open 6x from button or something like that. And then like 2x pot, C-bet, second pair or something like. He just puts you in the most frustrating spots to where it's really hard to play multiple streets against him, you know?
Well, what's his screen name?
JC in blue.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He is one of those guys, and I feel this frustration a lot because I am a small stakes to medium stakes dude. I don't play this high stakes stuff.
Yeah.
So when I'm regging a $20 3K, I don't want WPT champs and shit on my left.
I completely agree.
I hate that.
Completely agree.
Like, man, like go to Mexico, play on stars, man.
Yeah. What the hell are you doing sticking up our site?
Yeah.
And if you go to play on ACR, play the high stakes stuff. Don't be down here and get my easy money.
Yeah.
109 pluses. That's
for sure, man.
The 109s are getting tougher on there for sure.
Yeah.
Especially
I can remember
even Assassinato now is a rag on there. And,
Yes.
he's not making it easy for anybody.
Yeah.
Brutal,
He plays
man.
on the 50s as well. I hunt around on the 50s, and
He plays
he's
a
always
pretty
on there.
decent amount of volume on there, like when he's playing, like when it's a slow stars day.
Yeah, I've never seen him at a $30 one, which doesn't mean he doesn't play him, but I've only seen him at 50s and above.
I'm pretty sure I have seen it.
Have you seen him on a 30?
Maybe the 12.5K guarantee. It's possible that I've seen him in that.
he definitely plays them. I've seen him on Twitch playing them.
Yeah.
Oh, so he does.
I don't know if I've necessarily seen him at my table, but
I would be surprised if he's playing them like while he's playing a full star schedule, but like on the slow weekdays, I'm sure that he's got to be so like soft for him too. Just so
that's what he said. Like I've heard him say he's moving away from playing on stars because ACR is so sweet.
Yeah, I believe it. I mean, a lot of people. Actually, I don't know that he was affected at all by the supernova, like all the changes and whatnot. But I know that Stars is losing a bit of traffic because of the bad press they're getting.
Yeah. Well, it affects the cash games more than it affects
Way more than MTTs for sure. I was going to say I don't know how much it would affect Alex, or if he could even go Supernova Elite playing multi-table tourneys. I don't think you can.
Yeah.
Right. I do know that he started to move away from stars even before all of that stuff happened because just how much softer. Like I've heard him say that playing on ACR is like stars 10 years ago.
Exactly. It's insane.
Yeah.
Stars is really a tough field now. It is tough to win on stars.
I haven't played on stars since April 15th years
I played
ago.
a little bit just it was one of the perks of past Canadian girlfriends.
Yeah.
Always being able to maintain a stars account, and they would just put it in their name, and if anything ever happened, they could just cash it out for me and everything would be all good. And they were always stoked to do it because I kick them like a little money to do it. And with the US dollar, especially now, like being so much stronger than the Canadian, they're like more than happy to do it.
Yeah. Well, I've got a hand if you got a little bit of time to.
Sure.
Okay, cool. All right. This is from a $30. Oh, this is the same one that we talked about before, Carlos. This is a $30 turbo 6 max on ACR.
Oh, yeah. I think I just shipped that yesterday. 2 days ago. I'm really consistent in that thing.
Okay. Yeah. It's a fun one. I like it.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. So it's the $30 6 max turbo, 1500 guaranteed. Okay. Hero, we have Ace King of spades, Ace King suited under the gun with 41 big blinds.
Okay.
Wait a minute. I don't think we did this one, Steve.
Oh, well, I'm saying it's the same tournament. It's not the same hand.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. So, all right. You're under the gun with Ace King of spades?
Yeah, under the gun with Ace King of spades.
Okay.
And we raised it to, blind levels are 150, 300. And under the gun, we raised to 666. I was going over a hand history review. Do you know Doug Lyford?
Yeah. I don't know him very well. I know we're Skype friends and whatnot, and we've definitely spoken before. He helped me out. I remember when I had some sort of HUD issue. And
he's good with that.
Yeah, Mark set me up with a Mark Aliota.
Yeah.
He linked me up, and Doug took real good care of me on that.
He's real smart when it comes to computer stuff. He's helped me out with some HUD stuff as well.
Nice.
But yeah. Anyways, he was saying that my normal pattern for raising here in would be under the gun, I would raise to 666 at this blind level, and then the next seat over I would raise to 655, and then I would raise to 633, and then 644, and then on the button 633, and like that. So it's kind of more under the gun and then descending towards a min bet.
I like it.
On the button. But one thing Doug was saying was in these soft tournaments, you might even be able to raise more. Make it
for sure
777 under the gun, and then make it 711 the next one, and then 666, and then a min bet or a min raise on the button.
On the button, yeah.
What do you think of that?
I mean, I agree that you could get away with raising more for sure. It really is just going to come down to you're still going to. I feel like most people, especially playing that one, are still going to at least defend big blind against you pretty wide.
Okay.
But I mean, as long as you're comfortable taking flops against the big blind in position, and as long as you're comfortable varying your C-bet sizing accordingly, obviously, based on opponent and board texture and whatnot, I think it's a good spot I'm pretty much a min opener until I hit 150, 300 level. And then that's where I start to try and put a little more money in the pot now.
Okay.
And I usually, my standard open at 153 is 700.
Okay.
But I think in that, especially in a turbo, I like opening a little bit bigger because, the pressure's only going to be more on you every hand moving forward. So you might as well try and get more money in the pot.
Okay. I raised to 666. Next guy folds, and then the cutoff calls, 6 max. Cutoff calls, button folds, small blind folds, and big blind folds. So the cutoff, what we have on him, he's actually the guy from last hand, Carlos. He's K-Van 21. He's 45-16. I've got 100 hands on him.
So he was hijack in the last hand we discussed.
He was hijack in the last hand we discussed, yeah.
Okay.
45-16.
Yeah, now that's only 100 hands, but still, it tells you right there, the guy's, out of 100 hands, he's played 45 of them.
That's what I was going to say, even in a small sample size, that's really active as far as hands played.
Yeah, exactly. And he likes to call. It is 6 max, but still, 45%, that's
absurd.
That's pretty wide, yeah. Okay, so he calls. We go to the flop. Again, we have ace, king of spades. The total pot is about 2,000, 1,962. Okay, we have 41 bigs behind. He has 22. So our stack is 11K and Villain has 6K. And the pot's about 2K. All right, so the flop is queen of clubs, 10 of hearts, 2 of clubs. And we have the ace, king of spades. What are you thinking here?
Okay, folding is never going to be an option. Because of his stack size, I wouldn't mind check peeling. I like c-betting for sure. I just don't know, if you say you c-bet, what is your standard c-bet size? Anywhere from third to half pot, something like that?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, so say hypothetically you c-bet 875 into almost 2K or 900 or something along those lines.
Yeah.
And then he either comes over the top or just rips. Obviously, you're not calling if he rips.
Yeah.
If you check, it's never with the intention of folding unless he, for some reason, just stuffs his stack in there or pots or something. I'm never giving up on the hand. I just don't know if c-betting or if check flatting or I don't think I would check raise there. I would probably bet more often than not and put him to a decision, but I wouldn't be totally opposed to check flatting just because of how active the guy is and how many hands the guy plays. There's a handful of Queen X and even more 10X combinations that he's going to be flatting you with He's going to pretty much be flatting you with 10-8 suited plus. And then you could probably say the same thing for Queen 8 suited. I would probably c-bet 820 or something like that, I think.
Okay. Well, what do you think, Carlos?
First off, I would want to know something about his post-flop tendencies. Like, is he the type that floats a ton? Like, how often does he fold to C-bets? My guess, since he seems to like to see flops, that he doesn't fold to many C-bets. So right away, I'm thinking, if I'm going to C-bet this board, I want to think about his range. Like, a good player would probably only be flattening this spot with like small pairs trying to set mine. But we know this guy's not good. So he's probably got a lot of combos in his range that he's not folding on a flop that has 10, like Queen 10, like 2 Broadway cards, like those smash calling stations range in this spot. Yeah. And so I think I'm probably going to see bet small, maybe like a third, to see if I can get him off of those small pairs, just target that weakest part of his range.
Yeah.
Not expecting him to ever fold any card in his hand 9 or better. I don't think he's going to fold. Like anything with a gut shot, even like a ace jack, he's not folding. He's never folding any pair or any gut shot. And that is a ton of his range in this spot. So I'm going to start off betting small to target the small pairs, which may fold 7s or, something like that right here. But those other hands, I'm not expecting to get him to fold. So I want to try to give myself the best possible price on that bluff. So I like third pot. And depending on what comes on the turn, I may change course from there. Probably going to, so let's just start with that. Like in this spot, I'll bet third pot to try to bluff him off of small pairs, and we'll see what happens on the turn.
Okay. All right. Hero, let's see, with almost 2K in the pot, I bet 888. And Villain calls.
Off.
Oh, yeah, he's never.
Oh, man.
I was going to say, does he ever have 3s through 7s there? Like,
okay, so Villain calls. We now have a pot of 3738, and the turn is the ace of clubs. Okay, so the board now, the run out was queen of clubs, 10 of hearts, 2 of clubs, and the turn was the ace of clubs, and we have ace king of spades. So we got top pair, but 3 clubs are out there. What are you guys thinking here? 3,700 in the pot.
He has just over 5K behind.
He has 4,900 behind. He has about 5K, yeah.
I mean, me personally, my nitty tendencies would say to slow down, but as active as the guy is, I feel like you probably still have some value in betting. You need to know whether or not he's just flatting his flush draws with you, which I guess he probably will be in position there.
Kind of a shitty spot, huh?
It is a very shitty spot.
That's why I brought it up.
I like continuing in the hand. I don't know if leading into him is the best approach moving forward. I wouldn't necessarily be opposed to it because, like I said, he could be raising flush draws on the flop, especially if he just puts you on c-betting air. I guess I'd be surprised if he had like a big flush draw or something in position that he was raising you with, especially a fish like this. Like he seems like a call station who's going to play his hand pretty straightforward. I don't know. The turn, I guess, would probably slow me down, but I feel like I would still want to see another street. I just don't know if you betting there gets you there, because you obviously, if you bet and get crammed on, you're in an even more terrible spot where you're probably the most inclined to fold. Like you almost can't bet enough to make yourself fold to a jam.
Yeah.
If you c-bet here. So I think maybe that would be the best reason to either check peel, or if he goes absolutely nuts. I mean, I'm probably check calling here, but there might be like a scenario where I check fold, but I don't know. I'd be really surprised. I guess if you check and he stuffs his 5,800, I'd probably like tank, cry, fold.
Okay.
But other than that, like, I don't know. I feel like you should continue with the hand, at least see the river. I just don't know if you leading is going to be the best route getting you there.
Yeah. Okay.
Because if the pot is, okay, you bet 888. So the pot's like 3,700.
Yeah.
So you bet hypothetically something in the 1,800 to 2K range or something like that, maybe less. I don't know. I usually half pot or a little stronger on the turn. But if you're doing that, he's probably either like cramming or folding. And do you want to call an additional 3,700 with one pair, potentially drawing dead?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I would slow down. And then based on his turn sizing and I guess just your overall feel of the situation, it would determine what I'm going to do moving forward, whether I'm just going to decide to call, whether he's betting an amount that makes me feel like he might be bluffing and I should just get the money in because I'm going to anyways. I don't know. I would probably personally slow down given the nit that I am. But that's really just only because I wouldn't want to bet 17 or 1,800 turn and then have him stuff 5,700 and be put in like a really annoying spot.
Okay. What are your thoughts, Carlos?
I'm thinking that this dude is a fish and he's a calling station. The main thing calling stations like to do is call. So I'm going to bet here to get value from Queen,
Queen
Jack, Queen 9, whatever he has, 10x.
Jack
I don't
10.
see him folding like Jack 9, King Jack. Like he's calling all that stuff. Even if he has something that's just like, say like Ace 9. Well, no, the turn is the Ace of Clubs. So
King 10, King of Clubs makes a ton of sense.
Because we know that with those type of stats, he's the type of person who's likely flatting tons of offsuit combos that he shouldn't be flatting, that he has a lot of like one pair plus a flush draw hands in his range to go with, you know, the legitimate hands. And so I'm betting to get value from those. And another thing about passive calling stations is that they don't bluff enough. So if I do bet this turn and he shoves, I think I'm going to fold pretty comfortably.
Yeah, that's an easy decision. You're right.
I don't think that guy's shoving over. A guy that likes to call, when he decides to shove, he's not doing it like.
Yep.
So I'm betting probably around 19, and I want to make it a little bit bigger because he does, if he has one of the hands in questions with like a club draw, say if he has like a club draw and a gut shot, he's got a fair number of outs. We know he's going to call, but I don't want to make his call profitable by betting too little. So I'll go a little bit bigger and expect to call from tons of hands that I beat. And if he raises me, I expect that he just got there and fold pretty comfortably.
Okay. That's a good point. Okay. Our sizing is all about the same. You were saying 1,800, Peter. You said 1,900. I bet 1,888.
Nice.
So
nice.
Okay.
Great minds think alike. Now he clicks it back. He makes it 37.76.
Just snap mins you. Yeah, I like Carlos said. I think you can probably pretty confidently fold. And it's really tough to think that one pair is ever going to be good there, even if you're not drawing dead necessarily. You know what I'm saying? Even if he has a hand like Ace 10 of Hearts that he's doing that with, you can pretty confidently and comfortably fold your hand.
Okay.
I definitely agree with Carlos's assessment there completely. That was super on point. And
yeah, that's a really, really good point. When you have a calling station and then they finally do decide to 3-bet you or raise, like they just got it. Okay. Yeah, that's what I should have done. When I saw my reasoning was, well, he's only got 22 big blinds and I'm getting such good odds. I'm getting like 4-1 here. And I just went with it. But he had the flush. He had King Jack. No, not King Jack. He had Jack 8 of clubs.
Oh, okay. So he had a straight draw, flush draw on the flop.
Yeah, he had a gut shot and then a flush draw, and then he hit his flush draw.
So here's the point that I wanted to kind of say again, and it came up a little bit on the last hand. That once we see his hand, it kind of confirms what we thought about his what his HUD stats told us. If he's calling in this spot with King 8 of clubs off of 22 bigs.
Jack 8 of clubs.
Oh, it was Jack 8.
Yeah, even better.
Yeah. So, you know, I I guess actually that makes it a little bit different because these cards are, better connected. I still don't think it's a good call pre.
No way, not with 20 bigs. That's
right.
That's terrible.
Right. So wow. what I was going to say, because I thought it was King 8 for some reason.
Yeah.
If he's calling with King 8 there, then he's probably calling with King Jack offsuit, Queen 10 offsuit, Jack 10.
Sure.
Tons of hands that we get value from in this spot. But even Jack 8 we know is a little too loose.
Yeah.
So we can probably think.
I would say the same thing. You can pretty much assess the same thing from him playing Jack 8 as King 8. Almost the same thing.
Right. So we can throw in tons of other combos that he will have in this spot that we do get value from on the turn.
Yeah.
So just because he happened to show up with the flush in this spot, which another thing we can look at is that it's unlikely for somebody to have a decent player to have a flush in this spot, given that the ace and the queen of clubs are not available.
Exactly.
That blocks a lot of the
combos.
Yeah, of flush draws that somebody that wasn't a tool would call with.
Exactly.
But since this guy we just ran into top of his range. But,
if it's a good player, they almost have to have a royal or never a flush there.
Exactly.
It's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I hadn't thought of that. The ace and the queen are out there, so that blocks pretty much everything except, I think a good player might call there with King Jack suited. Maybe. I'm trying to put myself in those shoes if I would do that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I could see a flat from King Jack of clubs there, yeah.
Yeah, but that's probably it, right? Are they doing that with King 10 suited with 22 bigs?
Probably not. I'd
probably
say
not, right?
King Jack is probably like the cutoff point. And even King Jack suited, there's a lot of players that are just going to be ripping there with 22 against an open, especially 6 max turbo. A lot of guys are just going to be ripping King Jack suited there.
Yeah.
Right. So, but not for sure, nobody's calling here with 4-3 suited.
Exactly.
And so those small ones, given that the big flush cards on the board and nobody's calling with the small flush cards, a flush is very unlikely in this spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, it was an awkward spot, so I figured it'd be a good hand for the podcast.
For sure.
It was,
definitely an interesting hand.
Yeah, I like that one.
Well, if you guys want to get more tournament advice, you can go to Tournament Poker Edge, head to our website, HeadsUpPoker.Poker, and scroll down and click on the TPE link. What that'll do is that'll give the podcast a portion of your monthly subscription, and that's one way you could help out the podcast. You could also, we have a Amazon link on our website. If you scroll down to the bottom, Tony was able to put one of those up. And I just threw up a video on using a push-fold chart. So you guys can go to the website. The video should be up by the time this came out. And you guys, I've gotten a bunch of questions on push-fold charts and how to read them and what to do. And anyways, it's just a 10-minute video, and it shows you exactly where to go, where to print it out, how to use it. And I think I can't imagine playing poker these days and being a winning player without one of them.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's vital, man.
Yeah.
No question.
Yeah. You use a different one. What push-fold chart do you use, Peter? DJ something?
I use DJK. It's Dan Kelly. But it was originally DJK's, and since then it's been tweaked and tampered with a little bit by mostly the Hilton brothers, Jonathan Hilton, Andrew Hilton, and David Hilton, who's D Hilton 12 on Stars.
Okay.
All of them are fucking sick. Those guys, and then I want to say, I think maybe Nick Eunice is one of the other ones, and then my friend Mahoney 777, who's another Stars wizard. It was basically initially DJK's shove chart, and then these guys got a hold of it and have made their own minor adjustments to it since, and that is the version that I have.
Okay.
But yeah, I pretty much live by it.
Is that available online?
No, I just sent, DM me your email on Twitter and I'll send it to you.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really solid a chart for sure.
Okay.
There was some spots when I looked at it at first, I was really kind of this is interesting. Some spots are a lot wider than I thought, and some spots are a lot tighter than I thought. But it all makes a ton of sense for sure. And I mean, who am I to second guess DJK?
Right.
Yeah. Are the tight spots in early position, and then the really loose spots are like the cutoff button and small blind?
Yeah, but not even so much like under the gun and under the gun +1. Even some low jack spots that to me were I guess surprising, just compared to how wide the button jam on it it was interesting to me to see, like, even just on like a 12 big blind button jam, the difference between that as opposed to like opening from the low jack. It was a really wide discrepancy compared to what I was expecting.
What point does the chart start? Does it start at like 12 bigs or 15 or 20?
So it goes from 5 all the way up to, I believe, 20. I follow it pretty much to, I mean, I'm never, ever, ever am I open jamming 20x.
Yeah.
But there's certain spots. I mean, I would say I'm maybe 13 to 14. I've definitely open jammed 14 bigs before. And that's probably as wide as I'm ever, or like as much as I'm ever open shoving.
Okay.
That's like as big a stack as I'll ever just open shove. And of course, it's all situational and based on the spot at the time. But I mean, you can still follow it for the spots where it's bigger than that, just as like for reshove for 3-betting spots. Especially against looser players. Like that's what I do when it gets to 15 bigs and higher, is I pretty much just follow it as like a rejam chart for anyone who is in the 30 VPIP range, you know?
When you have a guy like from the last hand that's a 45-16 and he limps.
Well, when you got that guy, you just get it in against that.
Yeah, exactly.
I got a question real quick from the Twitch chat to kind of go back to the battle rap a bit. Cool G Rex wanted to know, it sounds like a rhetorical question.
I like that name, Cool G Rex. That's tough.
But he wanted to know, did Fresco really write all those bars, or did you battle him and QP at the same time?
Nah, Fresco 100% wrote everything of his own. Fresco's one of the best writers, like, in battling, period. He's always been someone that I've thought was like a really dope writer. And that was like what appealed about the battle so much to me to begin with. Like, to be honest, the first offer that I got for that event was Head Ice, and I was going to do it. And then 2 days later, the cameraman Avocado messaged me and was like, yo, what do you think about you and Fresco? And I was just like, yo, that's a perfect match on paper compared to me and Ice. And while I have an endless amount of respect for Ice, and I'm a huge fan of his, and I'll probably end up battling him at some point, just style-wise and matchup-wise, like me and Fresco, it just makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I agree.
And we battled at Scribble Jam in 2008. Like, a lot of people don't know that. So Fresco got to have like his vengeance, basically.
See, that I didn't know. Oh,
yeah.
Man, that's some good behind the scenes.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
I know that.
There's not even footage of it. That's why no one knows about it.
It's like the Scribble Jam stuff. It was like the championship round was filmed.
Yep.
But like the preliminary stuff.
Yeah, none of the prelims.
Right on. Well, do you have any plugs? Carlos, definitely your Twitch stream. That'll be in the show notes.
Yep. I'm on Twitch right now. All the Twitch people are loving the conversation. Everybody's like amazed that Saurus is on the show with us. That's so awesome. I got a lot of people in chat who are familiar with you from battle rap as well as poker. So it's a nice treat for these guys.
Salute to everybody watching your stream, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, my only plug is just twitch.tv/Carlos Welp.
Right on. And you, Peter, do you want to throw anything in?
Yeah, first, legendaryclothingcompany.com. If anybody wants to check out any of the gear, we pretty much, I don't think we're sold out of like any size or shirt or hoodie in particular. So you shouldn't have any trouble there. If you want to follow me on Twitter, it is Thesaurus831 is the Twitter handle. And I am Thesaurus Wins just about everywhere else. Instagram. Actually, my Twitch is Thesaurus Wins as well. I just haven't started streaming yet because I want to sort of upgrade my home setup just so I'm comfortable doing it and not like hunched over staring at my laptop screen while I'm like also eight tabling ACR on the same laptop. Like, it's not the most ideal. So I would like to get like a bigger monitor and maybe like a comfortable computer chair. Once that happens, Thesaurus Wins on Twitch, Thesaurus Wins on Instagram, everywhere else besides Twitter. But thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. It's awesome.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, man. This was fun.
For sure. I'm glad.
It's cool to have guys on that you played with on online and kind of get their perspectives and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Like put a personality to the screen name.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
definitely.
I'm going to try to hunt down Carter. I want to bring him on.
He and I follow each other on Twitter. He shouldn't be too hard to find. I think it's Carter Myers Ob, like OBV. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. It's something really simple.
Okay. All right, cool. I'll find him. All right, gentlemen, you guys have a good day?
Yep, you do the same. Take care, fellas.
Okay, thank you for tuning in. You guys head over to HeadsUpPoker.Poker. Get your free MP3 for Elliott Rowe. Listen to it the next time you play. And go there and check out that video I put up on the push-fold chart. It's free. It's like 10 minutes long, and you should understand it pretty thoroughly after that. Thank you for tuning in, and here is your weekly motivational speech.
I just want to ask you one question. What do you want to be remembered for? I hope you want to be remembered as a grinder. Someone who fights their way through all the things that they go through. Do not give up on your marriage. Do not give up in school. Do not give up on your goals and your dreams. You want to be an athlete. Grind. You want to open up that company, that organization. Grind. Nobody has to convince you to do what you have to do. Wake up early. You stay up late. You will do whatever you have to do to get where you need to go. Who gave me $5,000 when I was at Michigan State doing my program? I didn't have no budget, but I didn't need a budget. I had a dream. I didn't need no help. The president never came and said to me, E.T., we're going to help your program for this institution blow up. The president never came, and I never quit. I never gave up. Why? Because it wasn't her dream in the first place to take care of a group of kids from the D. It was my dream. It was my goal. I don't expect you to believe in my dream like I believe in my dream. And the problem with some of y'all is you want somebody else to support your dream. It's yours. I don't owe you a dime. It's your dream. If you want it to happen, get your butt up and make it happen. If you want it to happen, rise and grind.